So, on the subject of living for others, I must share my experience with Sufi master. I call him a Sufi master in Kashmir. He's in Kashmir. I visit him twice a year. And truly it is living for others. What I see, I spent a day with him once. It was really astonishing. This man, I think every breath he takes, he is living for others. So one day we went to the biggest mosque in Srinagar. There's a huge open ground where the bird feed is put to feed the birds. What had happened is I had given him an envelope with some cash because I didn't know what else to give him, and he flatly refused. He said, but we'll take the money and you come with me. So he took me to this mosque. And he told me that once a week he feeds the birds in 7 different locations in Srinagar. Now when we got off from the car, and the shop which sells the bird feed was about maybe 30 feet away across the road, I looked up and I saw that the birds were going crazy. They were just, going bananas the minute he stepped out of the car. So I told him, I said, Baba, he's what is referred to as a Peer Baba by the locals. I said, Baba, they recognize you. He said, of course they do. So we went, we took a bucket full, which is literally this big, a bucket of bird feed, and we carried it and we fed the birds. Now, on the way back, he told me, he said, when I die, these birds will follow my coffin from my home to my grave. And I told him, boss, very easy to imagine, because I could see how excited were they to see you. Now, this is just one thing which I saw, but what I saw was I went with him to a local orphanage. This is a man who has a very small shop. He just sells tourist things on his own. He manages the shop on his own with one of his children. Doesn't earn much income, but whatever he earns, he says, I have a comfortable life and I spend on others. So he goes once a month to the orphanage, takes things from his own shop, socks, gloves, because it gets cold in the winters, and he distributes them to the children. Then once in 3 months, he hires a bus and takes schoolgirls on a picnic. So I said, Baba, you do a lot for others. It's so beautiful to see this in action. You don't speak about it. He never speaks about it. That day, I just happened to spend those 1 or 2 days with him and I saw it in action. And then he said, on Eid, which for us is very auspicious, I tell my children, I am forgetting y'all. Y'all have each other. They are married, they have kids. He said, I come to the orphanage and celebrate Eid with them because they have no one else to celebrate it with. Now, so here was someone who spontaneously, naturally goes to the orphanage and spends his time there. And earlier we talked about the experience of this woman who was feeling lonely and who was told by Ramesh, why don't you go to the orphanage and spend time with children? And both these examples show to me that one is innately programmed. To some it comes naturally. To the Baba it came naturally to go to the orphanage. To the woman, she had to be told that a solution to not being lonely, because there's no one in your life, is to spend time at the orphanage. Now, whether she does it or not, whether Ramesh's words had an impact or not, is her destiny. God's will. So, this was really talking about the orphanage incident just reminded me of the Peer Baba and his approach, his nature to do with the orphanage. And I feel that I don't know if it happens, but the woman who was told by Ramesh, even if she didn't end up going to the orphanage, maybe it's not her nature to do that, but the message went through. And in either case, the result, I'm sure, would be something which would transform her in either small way or in a big way, but it is a fresh conditioning which has been put into her, and it will lead where it's supposed to lead. So that was the thing. And the thing is about giving. You see, the ultimate thing is you give your time. When you go to an orphanage, you're giving of yourself. So the issue boils down to giving. Whether you give gifts to people, whether you give compliments to people, whether you give money to people, you give your time, you give your love, you're giving. The joke is that we are giving what is not ours in the first place. What is ours to give? Even if it's money, we've earned it from someone else, somewhere else, and we are giving it. If we give our time, it's not our time. God gave us the time which we are giving to others. So giving is actually quite a joke. We should be thankful to the person who is receiving the gift to give us the opportunity to give. It is really the other way around. You should really thank somebody who is making you part with something which is not your own in the first place. When a beggar comes up, you should be thanking him to give you the opportunity to give. In a inner chamber course of Tibetan, inner chamber Tibetan course I had done, there was a beautiful phrase which said, "What you truly possess is what you give."